for the YouTube subscribers. Go subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 41, Vettori versus Costa. A fun main event after back-to-back questionable ones. It's right about last week's main event, guys. Terrible on paper and terrible when it came down to it. Just a terrible fight. Aspen Ladd did not come out and did not pull the trigger in that fight. We all know what happened with the corner and all that. Me personally, you can't really judge or really comment on, a personal relationship when it's your trainer / boyfriend. So you can't really comment on there. Maybe Ladd wanted him to be like that, right? So that I'm not going to get into. I know some people were going back and forth. Misha Tate came out, and I know a lot of these reporters, etc., brought it up, but I'm not going to get into that. A bunch of winners last week. Again, I did Lena Dumont's side. Didn't see it going all 5, though. I didn't have a play in that fight. I didn't have a client play. My favorite play was the co-main event, the Felipe and Orlovsky to go over 2.5 rounds or to go the distance. That I did have as a play, and I did parlay it as well. Orlovsky stole the decision. I did think it was a close fight, but he did steal it in the end. Jim Miller. Hey, Jim Miller got it done. Most CFC's fights. Didn't see it by KO, though. We did not see that by KO. Definitely thought it would be a sub. But either way, he did get it done, and did get his first KO as well. Fiorot, the French fighter, the woman fighter, looked great again. She was my favorite play on the card. I did parlay it with that co-main event, and we were able to cash on that for our big unit play. Profitable card for myself and clients. Only 3 plays, going 2-1. However, it should have been 3-0. I know you guys remember that Amiv fight. I had Amiv by decision at plus 110, and we got robbed there by the judges. 3 blind mice are back at it. And Chris Lee somehow still has a job. Chris Lee scored that 30-27 for Roberts. I have no idea what he was looking at. I had it 30-27 Amiv, maybe 29-28 Amiv. Maybe. But I had Amiv winning that fight. Most people had Amiv winning that fight. He outstruck Roberts and had more takedowns than Roberts. And Roberts didn't have any big shots. He didn't hurt Amiv at all. He didn't land any big shots. I don't know how he won that fight. Good news is it was a decision outcome play, so it means it was a small unit for me. So it's not the end of the world. But for someone that put big money on Amiv, or even, had him in a 2-fight parlay, which some people probably did, or even bigger parlays, you got screwed, right? You got screwed by the judges once again, and it's going to happen when you bet on MMA. The goal is to try to limit those spots, or if it is an outcome play by decision, limit the units, right? But hopefully sometimes you get screwed, and then hopefully sometimes it doesn't screw you, and you're on, like if you're on the Roberts side in that case, you're laughing, right? So it's hopefully balances out for you, unless you have some bad luck. Weekly update. Like I said, another profitable card for myself and clients. Best bets stay the same. I haven't had a best bet for a few weeks now. 53, 29, 65% long term. That's 2 years, guys. 2 years, not no one hit wonder, 1 month wonder here. 35-9 client run right now. And that's a few months now, right? That many plays? 2-3 months. So 80% all fights, guys. This is all fights. And just under 50 units in the 2-year mark. PGA profitable prop market last weekend with Hovland best bet. Top Continental Euro plus 125. 69% best bets long term. 60 units even now. And long term prop market. That's long term. That's 2 years now. Just under 2 years. Outright market just missed with Morikawa last week. We had a T2 on Morikawa. We would have hit another outright. It would have been a ridiculous 5 outrights in 8 events. We are at 4 outrights in the last 8 events. McIlroy hit some crazy wild shot to take that title, guys. He only won by 1 stroke over Morikawa. And McIlroy hit some wild shots, a couple big eagles. to win him that. And, he wasn't playing great. He wasn't playing great going into that tournament, but big win for him. NFL, last week was an up and down week after the 9-1 week. We got hurt by a few upset guys. Denver screwed us, and the Bills as well. Free plays, 5-1. We did lose on the underdog finally. Last week, Carolina lost in overtime. So it was close. It was close. Even when we do lose, it is close there. 4-2 in teasers and Moneyline for you guys. Check out my video every week. It comes out Friday morning, 9 a.m. We're on a 15-6 client run, all plays right now, and 6 unit profit on the year. NBA and NHL here. Low volume for now. NBA and NHL. I will be picking my spots early. Not my primary focus sports. Not my primary focus. However, I do follow every day, look at the lines every day, and try to find some value. Before we get into the card, let's hear from my friend Meredith.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
All right, guys, remember, check out my website as well. Check out my website, systemsportscapping.com, for all updated records, videos, subscription packages. Become a client today. Get detailed emails on why I like to play, the unit size, books, everything that you need to place your bet. I send that out by email, detailed email. You join my client list today. Start profiting long term. Main card time, guys. Main card. Shop around for best prices like I always advise. Have multiple books. Have multiple books. It's very important to find the best number out there. These numbers I'm giving you right now aren't the best numbers, so shop around. Let's get into the main event. Costa plus 125 versus Vettori minus 150. You guys haven't heard yet? Costa cannot make weight. This is going to be a catch weight fight. Either 195 or we'll move to 205. That I don't know yet. I'm guessing it may be 195. Vettori's going to want him to cut some weight. Okay, he's going to want him to cut some weight. So 205, he's not going to be cutting a ton. So I think he's going to try to get it to 195 there. Lines might move on this. I think Vettori probably will move up a bit. You're going to see some money coming in on Vettori. And I guess for good reason, right? The fight was hard to predict without all this. Now we have to look at it a little different angle, right? How focused is Costa? Why can't he cut the weight? Why is he coming in so heavy? Vettori mentioned it today in an interview. He doesn't care about the weight and that he will fight. That's his attitude, right? That's what I like about the guy. And I didn't expect anything less from him. I watched the Costa interview today, and he mentioned he won't tell why he can't make weight, but he will after the fight. That's concerning, right? If you have money on Costa or backing Costa, I would be worried to put money on him in this fight. He's been, with Costa, he's been out for over a year now, around that mark. Will he do something again stupid before this fight? All right, or will he even make the fight? There's a ton of question marks with this guy. Before all these issues with Costa, I did think Vettori's advantage was obviously maybe to wrestle. However, now Costa being heavier, is that going to factor on the wrestling? Another path for Marvin here in this fight would be to keep the distance and win by points. Costa's path would be to catch him with a big shot. Get in close and hit him with a big shot. Good news is Vettori has a chin, hasn't been knocked out. So, it's going to be tough to just catch Vettori with a shot and clean knock him out. Costa does have a black belt on the ground. It's just very hard for me to look Costa's way here with all the weight cut issues. What happened in the Israel fight with the wine drinking. I just question him from a different standpoints. And I do think he has limited paths to victory here. His path, obviously, to catch him clean or somehow gets to the ground and he pulls off a submission. Because Vettori is going to be trying to get to the ground throughout the fight, in my opinion. I do think it at least gets a few rounds. Unless Costa comes out guns blazing and he gets caught or he does catch Vettori. That's the only way I can see it maybe ending early. But this is a tough fight to call, guys. Very tough fight. Now you throw in the whole weight cut issues. You got to look at the fight a little different. If it gets to 3-4 rounds, Costa's going to be gassed, in my opinion, right? If this gets into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I don't think Costa's going to be able to last. And we have seen Vettori fight in these long rounds, right? He's just been in there with Izzy for 5. He can fight. He was in there with Jack Hermanson for a few fights, and Costa hasn't been fighting. So you got to look at that, guys. Vettori's been active. He wants to get back in there. And I do think he bounces back after this Izzy loss. I do think he's motivated to get this win here. I do think the matchup is fairly good for him as well. And, if he does make it a grappling style fight or stand, play back, play his distance right, use the kick, use the, jab, I think he wins this fight. Too many question marks on Costa. Could he catch him? Sure. Costa could catch him. But, you're playing the long shot game there. So I do think Vettori gets this done. Tough to call an outcome. You can lay the price. Get on it now, though, if you like Vettori. It most likely will move. Co-main Dawson minus 340 versus Glenn plus 270. Dawson is back. I like this guy. I like what I've seen from him so far. Hard to look anywhere else besides the Dawson side in this one, guys. I have loved what I've seen so far from Dawson. 5-0 in the UFC and an 8-0 run, all fights. Glenn will have to, he does have the experience advantage here. He'll have to use some of that. He does have a few good wins over Gavin Tucker and Dennis Bermudez. His last fight, he caught Silva early in that fight and made it a quick night. I'm not high on Silva, though. This line isn't great. The line isn't great. I don't think it should be this wide. That's the only thing I don't agree with here and why it's hard for me to get to Dawson. Dawson clearly has looked great, but hasn't fought great competition to show he's truly worth this price here, in my opinion. Dawson will want to get this fight to the ground. There's no secret. He does have the advantage there. I expect him to look for that, try to get the submission as well. He struggled to take down Santos, though, if you recall, 1-11. But Santos is solid all around. Good takedown defense. Glenn does struggle against the takedown. He does struggle against the takedown and guys that look for it. So Glenn was away from the UFC for almost 3 years, if you remember, before his return. And surprised some with Silva, due to that layoff when he beat Silva there. But, Dawson's known for getting that sub. And, however, Glenn, he hasn't been submitted before. I expect Dawson just to make this a grinded-out, hard-type fought win. And what he's used to doing. And an outcome is tough to call here, guys. The odds tell you that. Dawson by finish plus 140. Dawson by decision plus 125. Flip of a coin on the outcome. So lean decision and Dawson in a 2-fight parlay if you can get there. Next fight here, Clark. Clark minus 140. Versus Edwards, plus 120. Clark is back after a bit of a layoff due to an injury, and I think she had some COVID issues, maybe travel as well. Edwards is back after a loss to Rosa in her last fight. We know Carl Rosa, a very good fighter, and is 1-1 in the UFC. Edwards' issue is her takedown defense and is known to be terrible with her grappling. Edwards, solid striker. I think she uses her length well, 6-inch reach here, guys. And a bit of a height advantage. The clear path for Clark is to try to make it ugly, get this fight to the ground, and grapple. If Clark tries to get cute and stand and bang with Edwards, she could lose this fight by points. It could even get caught. Now, Clark she's not a takedown artist, not really known for her grappling. However, she did have some success in her last fight against Alpar in that department and averages a takedown per fight. So it would be smart if Clark decides to go back to that game plan. She could win that fight. She could win this fight if she sticks to that game plan and take down Edwards, because Edwards is terrible in the takedown defense department. And laying a small price, 140, worth a look. Decision prop is worth a look as well. Hard to see a finish here. I can see just Clark maybe wearing her down for 3 rounds. But yeah, if Clark and the coaches are listening to me, I'm sure they know how to beat Edwards here. Unless she decides to bang, I think she wins this fight and beats Edwards. Bruce Leroy, Sierra's plus 230 versus Troy minus 280. Leroy is back in the ring. Is actually on a little sneaky 4-1 streak here, 4-1 streak in his last 5. Now, not great opponents, and this will be probably the toughest test yet versus Troy. Troy's looked good in his last 3 fights. Excellent striker who's willing to bang and can hit hard, guys. He looked great against Julian De Rosa last fight. Really good against Rosa. I understand this price here. Is it too high for me to bet? Yes. So you got to get creative. I do think this price should be closer. CRC, he's very durable. Only been knocked out once. Fights awkwardly too. Not an easy guy to fight. So you never know. If it gets to the judges, we know how the judges are these days. Anything can happen, guys. 3 blind mice out there, especially Chris Lee. I'll look at Troy some way. Tough to call an outcome. Just because Sierra, right? He's been known to take some shots and he's fairly durable, right? So it's tough to call an outcome. I would maybe look at Troy in a 2-fight parlay. I think he's a pretty solid piece here. Is he a for sure win? No. Well, no one really is in the MMA unless you name Valentin Shevchenko fighting these cans. But I think Troy gets it done. He's looked very good. He continues to get better every fight, and I think for Bruce Leroy, this is one of the better fighters he's fought in a while. So yeah, I would look at Troy here. It's tough to call an outcome, guys. It's a flip of a coin for me, so I can't really bet an outcome here. It would have to be Troy in a 2-fight parlay for me. Tronaldo is back. The 43-year-old, yes, he is still around versus Grant plus 105. And there's no reason for him to go anywhere, right? He's 3-1 in his last 4. So why stop now? If Grant comes out with his power and catches him, maybe he'll think twice about hanging around. But, Tronaldo is moving up here in weight. That's one concern I have here looking at this fight. Only way you could look is plus money if you want to bet this fight. I'm not a fan of Grant, really. Kind of look for that big one-punch knockout power. With Tronaldo never being knocked out in his career, is he going to get knocked out now against Grant? I don't know. It's tough to say. Still with that being said, if you have to bet this fight, which you don't, because there's so many fights on the card and there's so many sports going on at once, it's the dog or you just pass, right? It's dog or just don't bet this fight. There's no other way to look at it. I can't lay minus 125 on the 43-year-old. It's just not something that I do, and it's not a good long-term investment. So if you have to bet it, look at Grant. And look at if you want to get creative, look at the KO prop. But like I mentioned, be careful. Tronaldo never been knocked out. And the opening fight, guys, I'm not going to even get into this fight. Villanueva versus Nega Moreno. I don't even know. Some guy from Romania. No, I know. I've seen him fight in his first fight. Didn't look good. Both these guys are classic low-end heavyweight fights, which I tell you guys to avoid. Avoid these fights unless you put a small unit for fun and it's a big play, right? In this fight, you can't lay the minus 220 on the favorite. You just can't do that in a guy that's, first of all, he's chinny, and like I said, it's a classic low-end heavyweight fight. The only way to look at it is the dog. Okay, or a KO prop. If you want to also look at, obviously the fight's not, I don't think it's going to go the distance. Someone's going to get finished in this fight. Someone's going to get dropped. So a fight not to go the distance is a good play too. And if you want to even look at more money, you look at Villanueva by plus money. Or if you look at the favorite, you have to take him by KO. You cannot bet that minus 220 on a heavyweight fight like this, guys. It has to be plus money somewhere. And it has to be a small unit. That will do it, guys. That will do it for this week's card. Next week, we got a big one, guys. We got a big card. It's UFC, I think, 269. I'm pretty sure it's 269. It's in Abu Dhabi. Back to Abu Dhabi. I'll actually be in Vegas next week for the card, so I'll be watching it. Not this week, coming up the next week for that card, and it's in the afternoon card. So I'll be finding a hotel to watch it. Probably at a sports book, but we'll see if all of them show it. I'm not too sure how that works over there. And yeah, I'll be away for a week, but I'll still be doing my videos. One I'll do live from probably Mandalay Bay sports book or the hotel. And the other one I'll be doing from South California. I'll be out in South California visiting some clients, also in Vegas visiting some clients. I'll be in Laguna Beach in California and also Newport Beach. So expect a different style video from me out there in a couple weeks. All right, guys, like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.